Do you know how to calculate distance? And why is the distance formula helpful? Hey friends, this is Clay Davis, and today I will be answering these questions that focus on my topic, calculating distance. To help explain the process, I'll be using the geometric formula. D equals the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. This formula is found in Chapter 1, Section 7 on page 61 in the textbook, and it allows us to measure distance using a methodical uniform process. Before we get into my examples that will demonstrate the calculation of distance, we need to actually define some key terminology. Distance, a numerical description of how far apart objects are. Formula. A formula is a concise way of expressing information symbolically, as in a mathematical or chemical formula. Squared is to multiply a number by itself. Square root, a number that produces a specified quantity when multiplied by itself. For example, 7 is a square root of 49. Now, let's take a look at some actual distance formula examples using the graph shown. In example 1, x1 equals 10, y1 equals 14, x2 equals negative 8, and y2 equals 14. If you plug those into the formula, d would equal the square root of negative 8 minus 10 squared plus 14 minus 14 squared. Simplify that, d equals the square root of negative 18 squared plus 0 squared. That would give you the square root of 324. Square root of 324 gives you the distance of 18. In example 2, x1 equals 0, y1 equals 3, x2 equals 0, and y2 equals 12. If you plug those in, d would equal the square root of 0 minus 0 squared plus 12 minus 3 squared. To simplify that, d would equal the square root of 0 squared plus 9 squared. That gives you the square root of 81. The square root of 81 gives you the distance of 9. x1 in example 3 gives you 6. y1 equals negative 2. x2 equals negative 2. And y2 equals 4. If you plug those into the formula, d would equal the square root of negative 2 minus 6 squared plus 4 minus negative 2 squared. If you simplify that, d equals the square root of negative 8 squared plus 6 squared. Simplify again, d equals 64 plus 36. That will give you the square root of 100. The square root of 100 gives you a distance of 10. I hope that you now have a clearer understanding of how to calculate distance, and I hope you have a great day. I would also like to give a thank you to Mr. DeLauder for giving me this challenging exercise.